Ooh, good afternoon from a winter wonderland. We are in Grand Bend, Ontario, Canada. Nellie and Mateo and I have come home for the holidays to be with my parents and my sisters and their families, their kids, all celebrating Christmas here in beautiful Ontario, Canada. And we couldn't have asked for better timing. There was a blizzard yesterday, which was just absolutely incredible. I'm filming this the day before Christmas, hoping to release it a couple of days after Christmas. So for you at home watching this, I hope you had an awesome Christmas experience with your family, and happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. I hope that you're still getting time off work, and that is worth celebrating for sure. And what's also worth celebrating is this new piece of kit. So this is going to be a relatively short video here, and I want to call it Goodbye Canon. I am changing camera systems because as you guys know, a friend of mine and a fellow photographer, Nick Page, has recently said goodbye to Sony after what I thought was quite a long love affair with the brand. And I got to travel with him for about a month a while back, just before the pandemic. And he was all over Sony, and I was shooting a Panasonic GH5 at the time, and he was like, oh man, you need to get on the Sony train, it's so much better for video and blah, blah, blah. And I knew he was right at the time, and eventually, you know, about a year later, I did end up picking up the A7S III, and since then, you know, I've been shooting the A7S III for video and the EOS R for stills, and my Canon sort of history does go back about 10 years. The first ever pro camera that I bought was the 5D Mark III. And for you Canon shooters out there, the 5D Mark III was a game changer for me. It absolutely built my business. I built my entire photography business on that camera, and even started my videography business with that camera as well. And I had the holy trinity of EF lenses. And when I got to the EOS R, I, you know, thought I would probably transition to RF lenses as well, but with that adapter that came with it, the bayonet adapter, I could use my EF lenses, and that's sort of what I stuck with because my EF lenses were so good and they still worked that I always used them with the adapter, and I never ended up buying an RF lens. And I always had it in the back of my mind that, you know, I want to be shooting on one system, and that's both for video and for stills, and Sony is the obvious answer to that. So after a ton of research and deliberation, over a year to be in fact, I finally decided to go with the A7IV, and this was a very tough call for me. I was very close to picking up the A7R5 because it is going to be sort of a primary stills camera, and the R5 is just an absolute beast when it comes to landscapes and when it comes to some of the architecture work that I plan on doing over the next couple of years. So I'm still sort of, you know, on the fence, which is weird. I'm looking forward to seeing the comments here, but I did want to get the A7IV because it is a fantastic hybrid camera, because I still do so much videography. And even though the A7R5 also can do good video, this thing just matches the A7S III so well. And I also got the 100-400 lens here, which is necessary. I've needed one for a while. I've always shot 70-200 and wanted to get that extra reach. And after using Brennan's EF 100-400 on my EOS R in Namibia, you know, that was just like a bit of a game changer. I knew that I needed a 100-400 going forward. And actually, Nick Page, the one who inspired me to make this video, thank you, Nick, sold me his 1.4 teleconverter. So this is one of the pieces of kit that he was able to get rid of when he switched to Canon, and it has landed in good hands, my friend. So thank you. I'll be using this in Antarctica in less than a month's time from now. But yeah, I think the 1.4, you know, with this 100-400 will be very useful when it comes to wildlife and shooting. Even though it's not the fastest camera for wildlife, it still will do its job. You know, there's such minimal things between all these different cameras, but for me, the A7IV felt like the right decision right now, and I might end up swapping it for the A7R5 if I need the extra megapixels for the landscape and the interiors. But yeah, this is it. This is the new camera. I'm very excited to be shooting now only on Sony with the A7S III and the A7IV, and I've now got the 20mm 1.8 2.8. We've got the 24 to 105, which I'm shooting on right now, and then the 100 to 400. And then I also have the Sigma MC11 adapter, which means that I can use my 16 to 35, 70 to 200, and 24 to 70 2.8 Canon lenses with this system. And they do work very, very well, especially for stills. So yeah, lots of new things to look forward to with being on Sony. And I never would have thought that I would have switched to Sony like maybe 3 years ago. Before traveling with Nick, it was sort of there, but I never saw myself as a Sony bro. I'm a bit of a Canon guy at heart, so it feels strange to me making this video and not just dropping all of my life savings on an R5 and an R6 Mark II and a whole bunch of RF lenses. But I'm happy to be on the Sony train, and we'll see what happens in 2023. So I'm wishing you guys a Happy New Year, of course, and happy holidays. And I hope that you're enjoying your time with friends and family. And next up for me is Detroit. I am going down to Detroit to try and photograph some abandoned buildings. So look forward to that. It's going to be an adventure. And hopefully there'll be less snow than this, but I don't think so. There was a huge blizzard that just came through sort of this whole region. So I'm pretty certain they got a ton of snow as well. But I will see you in Detroit.